Welcome everyone. Wizards Outlook. We got Cardell Gordon Jr. Wilson Tarver Jr. The Washington Wizards. They're at home tonight, taking on a very familiar foe, the Orlando Magic. So little quick background. Cardell, I don't know if you realize over the last 2 years, the Orlando Magic are currently on a 10-game win streak in this series. So the first time in series history, um, they've swept the Wizards in back-to-back seasons. So they've taken turns in their history of going on win streaks against each other. But this is one of the first ones where it involved two sweeps. So people might go on 12-game, 7-game win streaks, but it wasn't back-to-back flat-out sweeps. So that's a little different time back to last year. And, I'm sure it's easy for you to remember, just like me last year. Every time Orlando came to town, we knew the two horses they were going to lean on. And it happened, and it played their way out both times. Heading into this game, Paolo's averaging 22 a game as is Franz. Paolo's he's not shooting as efficient. He's yet to really get on track. Franz, on the other hand, he's off to a good start this season. It's like 52 from the floor and I think 40 from three. Desmond Bain, he's also been scoring, but he's yet to really find his stride either. So that's something for Washington if they hope to win this streak tonight. It's kind of limit Franz and keep Paolo and Desmond in that place where they're kind of struggling a little bit. We know they're a really big team. We know they're the physical team. That said, I want to get your thoughts on keys of the night's game for Washington.
Both of them are kind of in a similar position. They both they both don't guard well. They both turn the ball over. The difference, the Wizards are a top 5 rebounding team, so they get more opportunities where the Magic are 14th. They're 14th in the NBA in rebounding and whatnot. So this game is just going to be about who shows up and play defense and who don't make mistakes, like who takes care of the ball, play more efficient, which is usually the case in any game, but especially in this game because they just don't have the room for error to overcome if you don't, like some other teams or something like that. If they have a bad night in those regard. That we all know Paolo is all world. He's better than what he's been showing. And even when people will say he's not playing well, he's still averaging 22, 9 to 4. So, you know what I mean? And one block. You feel what I'm saying? So it's coming and it's due. But the Wizards got to make sure it's just not the night. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got y'all got to set that tone. And it's not just him. Franz Wagner been on it, like 22, 5 and 3 on 52, 44, and 72 splits. They on it, man. You know what I'm saying? And even with their shooting woes from 3-point range, like I know you brought that up, they're 22nd in the NBA, shooting 33%. From the free throw line, they get they're second in the NBA in free throw attempts. They get there a little over 34 a game. Problem is they don't hit them. They're 26th in the NBA, shooting 73%, but they get there. You know what I mean? So the fact that they're getting it means they're putting fouls on the opposing team, which the Wizards got to be wary of because they're not the biggest inside. When like Sar and Marvin Bagley get in foul trouble, you got Vuk in there. That's tough, and it's tough with Sar and Bagley not being in foul trouble. They have to deal with Paulo and Franz, you know what I mean, and Wendell Carter and those guys, man, inside, man. So, that's just the main thing. But yeah, for sure, they gotta show up and play defense, man. They got to, and the Wizards. The last time they were in Capital One did a good enough job to beat the Sixers, but then when the Sixers came back, it's like their defense just went to hell. They put the pressure on them. They have yet to put together a 48-minute game, and this is a good opportunity to start. Like both teams are, in a sense, are struggling with the same issues right now. You know what I mean? So this is a matchup to see like who can get right. And with the Wizards being at home, it should be in their favor to try to let's use this game to get a win and just start to build the right habits so we can continue, sustain and go on a winning streak, man. And like you said, I had no idea that the Magic were 10-0 in the last 10 meetings against the Wizards. If you're a competitor, we got to end that, man. Like it's getting out of hand, though. Like this getting disrespectful. You know what I mean? Like that goes back a couple seasons, 2.5 seasons almost. So they got to do that. The backcourts, the young fellas on the Wizards got to step up. the Magic have their own young fella, and Anthony Black, who I love. He's Jace Richardson, the rookie. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't play a lot, but if this game get out of hand, you will be seeing him. And the goal is to keep him on the bench. That's a telltale sign. And Desmond Bain, he's due. He hasn't shot the ball well. Obviously, preseason and practice are totally different things than going in the real time against teams scouting for you or whatnot. He's like a career near 40% shooter from deep. He's shooting 25% this season, man. So, like I said, you don't want guys to get on track. Well, he is a career 40%, 3-point shooter. So you don't want him to get on track. But the thing, he's just off all around. Like, he's shooting 42% from the field, 25% from deep, which is 15% below his career average. He's shooting well from the free throw line. He's like the only one on the Magic right now, shooting 94%. But you got a lot of guys that we know are capable. We've seen them put in major work. The Wizards got to bring it defensively again. If they don't, these guys will get confidence and get in a rhythm. And it could get ugly quick because they're super talented, man. They're a lot better than what their record shows.
I think one of the biggest things you mentioned was that they are due. Another thing to keep in mind is I think Suggs was going to kind of making that switch to Anthony Black as the guy running the show. So there's that too. My concern is what you mentioned. Don't let this be the game when Orlando kind of starts to figure it out, because it's not hard. I'm sure you can see the same thing. Like, you can see what they're going for. You know what I'm saying? It's not hard to see. Desmond Bain's the smallest guy in that starting lineup. Like, that's a huge starting lineup. The other thing is, we got Bilal back Wednesday against OKC. I'm happy that he's back and they just see if he could stack it together in a good game as he tries to find his way back too. And that's going to be big because you need size to deal with Franz. Franz is a problem. I don't think people realize, because Orlando's not on TV on a regular basis. We cover a team in the same division. We see them up close. Like, they're a hell to deal with. And you talk about how much they get to the line because they're so freaking big. That's something to deal with once they get down there. But they're all able to get down there. So I'm right with you as that being huge. It's such a boring game. Yeah, sorry about that. Just that being such a big concern and taking care of the ball. The last thing you want to do is let Orlando get easy points, get them transition. You mentioned Washington being a top 5 rebound team. It's imperative that they remain so tonight, because that can be the difference. Hold them to one shot. You're able to get out of one, like you said. It's two teams look like at the moment kind of near the bottom of the division, trying to get right. So it could be a big win for Washington to get a step closer back to 500. You would be 2-4 with a win tonight, and also give a division opponent a loss. But you had anything else you want to add?
Yeah, the Wizards bench, they got to show up. You see Bub, he went to the bench, haven't been playing well. Koulibaly came in and took his spot. He's coming off the bench with Whitmore and all those guys, and they got to show up. Despite their struggles, the Magic has 7 players that average double figures and points. You know what I mean? So it's more than just Paulo and Franz and Desmond. When they're like, you got to deal with a number of guys that can put the ball in the basket. And although they're not shooting well from deep, they're shooting well from the field. They're 12th in the NBA in field goal percentage. They score from other ways well. They're 12th in the NBA, and field goal percentage. So you got to play defense, but that means they're going, like I said, 7 players averaging double figures. So that means they have reliable scoring off their bench that's guaranteed. The Wizards on they have 6. Whitmore is right there on the edge, bordering on it with 9.6 a game. So they're close, but they're not, as efficient. They're a little bit less efficient than the Magic. They're 17th And field goal percentage, shooting 46%. And they shoot threes well. So far, they've been shooting the three ball well, 39%. They're ninth in the NBA. But again, free throws. They don't get to the free throw line a lot. They only average 22 attempts. That's 24th in the league. And they only make 73% of those attempts, which is 24th in the league. So they don't get a lot of easy points. They don't get a lot of free throw points either. So, they kind of making up for it a little bit from the 3-point line, man. But with that, with us saying, they gotta have more balanced scoring, and they gotta get more consistent scoring from their bench, man. When their bench shows up, they always have a chance to win. They usually, like against the Sixers, they was in the game. But obviously the last game, I believe, why am I mind drawing the blank? OKC obviously is OKC. That wasn't the case. They erase a lot of people for a living, but the Magic are capable too, because they've been good the last couple of years against the playoffs because of their defense. And it's ironic, their defense is suffering now and their offense is better, whereas the last couple of years the defense was strong and the offense, the shooting wasn't there. And that's why they went out and got Desmond Bain or whatnot to try to correct that. But now the defense is not up to par. So it's, with this team that's talented, they just got to get it right on defense. When they get it right on defense, I think the offense is going to start to click and they're going to be a problem. The Wizards' job tonight is just to not allow it to happen tonight. Yeah, do that to somebody else.
Exactly. So in closing, everything you just mentioned, let that happen 2 nights from now, tomorrow night, whenever. It's not tonight. And lastly, just another thing I think that's imperative for Washington. You talked about how much they get to the line. You got to play defense without fouling. Don't bail them out and keep them on the line. Because like you said, while they're struggling to shoot, free throws, you're giving free points away. You just can't do that. If you can keep them off the line and keep them struggling from shooting the ball, gives you a great chance, man. As always, if you don't have anything else, we'll check in with you guys after the game. As always, for Wins Outlook. Appreciate you guys. Enjoy tonight's game between the Wizards and Magic. We'll see all the keys that were shared, what ends up playing out.